Yeah, I have a question. I've been collecting signets because I had a hard time getting into Shadow Clan as it was, and I found out I can just collect the signets. Will I ever lose the Shadow status? Like if I become an Immortal and I get destroyed, and I was gonna join the Shadow Clan again with the signets, do we need another signet for ourselves?
Keep the signets. So there, I guess high level you could possibly need it later, but you could also help a clan out later if we start another clan. But generally speaking, once the clan goes dark, nobody really knows what happens at the end, because before it was dark house and then everything reset, but now nothing is resetting from what I understand. From what I hear, actually, what's going to end up happening is just the whole cycle, once it turns, it's just going to go right back to where people were doing stuff. So I'm assuming that you won't need to turn the clan dark again, which means that you probably won't need to turn and be in shadow again, which probably means you won't need to keep a signet. But it's good to keep it because it could be new members, you could have like another friend that comes in, and it's just easy way not to have to join the shadow lottery.
Follow up. So you don't think we'll ever have to, in that same vein, rejoin the guild because we weren't shadows at one point? Like get booted and rejoin?
I don't think so, but again, I mean, it's not like, you can't really, I mean, you can get rid of the signets, but there's really no need, right? The only way is to invite somebody into the clan. So, I mean, you could probably hog a few if you want to just save them for yourself, but there's really no reason to get rid of it anyway.
All right, thanks. I'll go back down to the audience.
No worries.
Like you said,
good.
This is definitely it's a new mechanic. It's not something that we really even know. Like, I agree, Nemo. They said that, one of the negative takeaways was when the cycle turned, everyone became an adventurer again. But right now it's an unknown. At least when we had dark houses, well, that meant the dark house dissolved and you just had your clans again. But now your dark clan, or your clan becomes your dark clan, which is what was called a dark house. Does it all switch up back over? We don't know. And it might be necessary. And I know, there's definitely some people that might have, multiple signets, even just running the lottery again, just because it's something to do. William suggesting that, if you keep running the signets, or you can keep running the lottery to get extra signets, just hold on to them. We might need it again to turn the clan. We might not. We might need, you might need it for additional memberships. We don't really know. The one thing's for certain is, as far as like rejoining the clan, as far as I'm concerned, everyone now is a shadow if you're in a dark clan, and you've probably gained in levels since you joined the shadow. So even if we were all to go back to a regular clan, we just have to get enough signets and we all convert back over into a dark clan together. We aren't going to have the mess that kind of came about it when they did the conversion the first time, where people weren't high enough because they couldn't join the shadows, they couldn't be part of a dark clan. So it's one of those, I don't think that's going to be, to me, as big of an issue if we go back to being regular clans.
Yep, good point.
Speaking of leveling with the shadow stuff, has anybody play tested whether or not you can share that quest line so that you can both benefit from doing parties together?
You mean like sharing bounties, or?
It's well, you can share bounties. I know you can share bounties, but sharing the shadow ones that you get, the three missions that you get from the bartender, the contracts.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure if partying it up actually makes a difference. That's a good one though. We should definitely test that. I don't think it does though.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything either. I think it's one of those, a lot of people just kind of get a kick out of running them, grinding them all out just to get it all leveled up.
The reason I ask is because it has a solo and a dungeon option. the having the dungeon option would make me think that they intend for you to run it in groups.
Well,
That makes sense.
Those bounties. I know usually, when you run it in the past, especially when you get to, the hell levels, the only way to get access into a dungeon is to party up. And, at least the way that I would end up doing it, if I had to run into Forgotten Tower to do one of the quest lines, I would end up joining a regular Forgotten Tower party. And then I would just have to run off to the side to free an immortal and kill an NPC, or, get some goodies from, a random corner, or the same thing with Nimari. I don't know if you necessarily could. I haven't tried to share the bounties, or share the contracts rather. Yeah, that'd be something that, like I said, it'd be good to kind of see and test out.
It would benefit hugely being able to level fast doing that. That's like the biggest experience that we get.
The only thing would be, you want to kind of keep in mind, like the bounties. If I've already done my 8 for the day, you can't share yours with me. But if I help you complete one of your shared bounties, then it counts towards one of my bounties. So there might be that, because there is that weekly limit of contracts that you can only do so many contracts in a week. The other thing, Nemo, that I kind of had, and I'm going to throw this question at you, because even though I'm a leader too, you've got more experience in it than I do. House focus, and can you kind of speak a little bit about the importance of doing of setting a house focus, communicating out what it is and what people need to do, and then more importantly, like why that house focus is important?
Sure, sounds good. House focus is really important. Basically, it's a way for you to focus all of the people in your dark clan into doing specific shadow activities. Because if you do those, or if they do those and they rank up, you get a whole bunch of rewards, as well as you get a bonus for every time you rank up your dark clan. So, for example, shadow focus could be like do your contracts for this week, and you set a goal like 170. Or a shadow focus, a better one usually is to raid the vault. You want to set that up because it's easier than the contracts, and the contracts also, they're maxed out. You can only do 3 to 5 a week per shadow. So if you put 170, that means a lot of people have to do them, versus the vault activity, which is usually like raid X amount of chests. So yeah, there's a cooldown, but a lot more people can do those, and it's just easier to knock those out. So just keep that in mind. But once you set those, you get hilts, I believe, and gold as a reward for like 5 levels. There's 5 chests, I believe. And the other reward, of course, is the rank up activity. Every time you rank up your dark clan, you get to set, as a leader, you get to set a bonus for everyone in the clan. And it's kind of interesting the way it works. There are 3 bonuses that are on the board, and you have 1 refresh. So if you hit a refresh, all of the bonuses are wiped and new ones are put in place. And sometimes the bonuses are really hard. Sometimes it's easy. Like some of the bonuses are the ones that are not very good. Like get 5% extra damage on Immortal Guardians. So when you are sitting in the Raid the Vault activity, or if you're playing, Rite of Exile, they have the NPCs, the Immortal NPCs. Well, this bonus will give us 5% more damage. So it's like, not so bad. Then there's other ones that are really good. Like, for example, increase your damage against the Immortals by 5%. That is just fantastic, right? And there's a bunch of other ones. Like, some of them are, we have one, for example, that says like, there's a 20% chance there's no guardians on one of the vault floors when you're doing the raid. Or you earn, that's a good one, right? That's I thought that was my favorite. The other one too is a really good one. Earn extra shadow marks for doing contracts. There's a lot of different really good ones. So sometimes it's easy, but then sometimes it's really hard because you have like really bad ones. So, but the easiest part is if you have 3 bad ones, because then you automatically hit your refresh button. But if you have 2 bad ones and one like a decent one, and you're looking at there and you're stuck, you're like, okay, so should I pick this decent one right here, or should I use my refresh and wipe all 3 next ones out, because they could suck too, right? And that's where the issue comes in. You're kind of gambling there in a sense, but that's kind of what the importance is of making sure that you do those. So you should set your focus as much as possible and make sure that everybody does them, you could rank up. It's really good.
And as far as the focus, it's also one of those, the clan leader sets it, and they set it on Saturday. So, Nemo and I will have the obligation, as will the other leaders, to go in and, make certain that either we keep it the way that it is or we change it over to something that's going to be useful. And it's one of those, it just kind of gives everyone the opportunity just to focus on something else. Maybe doing bounties are the right thing to aim for, but like you said, Nemo, maybe you've got some new people and they just aren't doing the bounties, but we still want to level up our shadow, the shadowiness. So let's switch over to raid the vaults, because we've got a lot of people that do that. Or I don't know if there's like a battlefield one that might be appropriate. So just to kind of have that different variety, just to keep the spice new.
Yep.
And then I see a comment in the chat here. Donkey says, I wonder if the shadow levels will reset when the cycle ends. So obviously, as you and I, we all go up, we're, shadow 1, 2, 3, 4, whisper 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to hunter 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, when we in beta, if that got when you were removed from the shadows, we had to restart that. That whole sequence. So I bet that's actually true, that we'll zero out any shadow progress with the new rain.
Yeah. Yep.
For us that are like blasting, what can we do after our battle pass is completely locked out? Like, you finished your dailies, you don't benefit from anything on the codex anymore. Is it just farm for experience? That's the only thing to do?
So, well, okay, it's a tough one, sort of. Yeah, I suppose. You could farm for experience, but then you'll cap that out if you go past server paragon level. You could farm for gear, but you will get, sort of get stop gapped a little bit by the gear levels versus paragon levels. There's that. I would say probably collecting gear pieces until you can upgrade again, and possibly just running dungeons nonstop until you hit that, until you get high enough in the server paragon level to where like you're getting, throttled like to hell. Where, some people only get like 40% of their experience. Really, you gotta like think about how much grinding you want to do if you're losing more than half of what you're getting. But at some point, yeah, there's really not much you can do if you're being capped on every level.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
Grinding for gear would have been, probably the best that I would have said too. Either that or, just running rifts. I know when you look at like the Diablo 3 mantra, that's what they did. After you completed the season, you've still got 2 weeks left in the season, but you've already done everything. You've maxed out all the gems and trinkets. What do I do? You end up just running rifts, and doing that. But at least to me, as you need, I definitely say run, do gear, especially when you're looking at set items, whether you're doing a build or if you're a completionist or whatever, running dungeons for sets would be the other thing to kind of keep in mind, because even if you're looking for a particular set item with buffs, you will get different attribute breakdowns. You might get a better attribute set, or you might get a better magic prefix on a particular set item. Just to kind of keep going on that, as far as, what do I do? And there's always something a little bit better. Of course, at what point in time you call it quits. One of our officers is, Renorak is saying, that they need to address the caps on experience and battle pass and the like. Arguably, you could say they have been, because at least in the testing environments, it used to be 0, and there was absolutely no reason to go to be blasting, because you could only get experience to a certain point, and then it wasn't worth your time at all. At least here you can potentially level up, But I know it's definitely one of those, like, it's an issue for some people, or for a lot of people, that you're like, hey, I've hit my server cap for the week and it's Friday. I've got to wait all weekend before it's really worth my while to play.
Where I'm at now.
And it really kind of stinks, and what message are they saying? Are they sending, be a blaster and then take 3 days off at the end of the week? Are they saying, don't play? Well, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I do enjoy what I'm doing, grinding dungeons and whatnot.
I mean, it also depends, I guess, how much work you want to put into it, right? Like, if you really want to put in that much work to get a little bit ahead, I mean, you can go nuts. You could jump up to the next difficulty and try to run that gear. And like, I believe when you hit Paragon 20, you can go to the higher hell, right? So you could, like, if you done nothing else to do, you could go farm that gear and just wait.
That's what I'm currently doing. I'm in Hell 2 at 17 Paragon, and I'm killing stuff. I've got the damage, but everything will two-shot me.
Right. So you can bump up that, like, once you get to 20, I believe you get to a certain one. And if you do that, once you get to a higher difficulty, you have a chance to roll gear in that higher difficulty. You still can't wear it, but at least once you hit that Paragon, like, but again, that's just work, man. So
yeah, I think this harkens back to the Blizzard MMO philosophy. If you ever played WoW, they time gate progression so that everyone else can kind of catch up, and that you don't just complete all their content. They want you to continually spend more money to progress little by little.
Hey guys.
Content. Are you there, Luger?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we got you.
And the question is, can you hear us?
I know if it's a mobile phone, sometimes the disconnection or lag will time off, at least on Android I've noticed, and you have to leave and return back to even come back. So
you said farming for gear, for getting legendaries and such. Would you just say farm normal dungeons without crests, or running rifts?
I wouldn't run the rifts for anything unless you have crest. I mean, you could drop something, but it's a lot more efficient to run a dungeon for a specific gear, especially if there's like a up 2. Right? If you see on the codex, sometimes a certain dungeon will drop twice the gear. There's that, but I would not run any of the rifts or gear anyway, unless you're dropping those cresties in there.
I don't actually get the codex from doing the bonus ones. Is that little multiplier on like the boss drop, or is that the codex? Like, do I have to claim the codex kind of thing?
No. So if you go to your codex, you will see that there's a specific piece of, there's a bunch of, like, you can make a certain activity featured if you want, which will give you double the XP. There's certain activities that'll give you double the gear, or it'll be an up thing for the gear. It just means that it's able to drop more set items and etc. You just play those non-stop. That's how you get gear. The other way to get legendary gear is to run around the world, because other times that's where I get my gear, by just killing the mobs, finding an orange. Another good way to get a legendary gear is to go to the ancient arena and then fight for it. You can get guaranteed legendary drop there as well. There's a few ways there and here.
Hey guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Quick, well, the connection's good.
All right, cool. How's everybody doing? Can I just ask a quick question?